Hello.
Hey,
Uh,
hi Henry.
yeah, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining today's section of AI Spotlight Show. My name is Henry Onowole, the executive producer of AI Spotlight Show. I know some people might be wondering that what is AI Spotlight? What do you guys do? As you can see from the word literally, we help to spotlight organizations, spotlight individuals, bringing them to the spotlight because AI is a game changer. It's not just one technology, but a technology that will change the course of history. It's going to change, the narratives of business. It's going to change the narrative of every industry, from healthcare to transportation, from transportation down to fashion. We can see in recent product launch by Google where they did a demo of a product where you can try on a clothes on yourself without even being in the store, and you can make a decision, a quick decision, if that cloth looks good on you. And that is how AI is transforming every form of industry. Another form of transformation is in the healthcare. I think this happens in India and also here in Florida, where a surgeon performed a surgery remotely without being with the patient. This is how AI is transformed. That is why we said AI is going to change the course of every human activity and every human society. And we can see what AI have sparked in few weeks, in few months, causing a trade war between China and US. And now we're seeing a trade war between employees, between OpenAI and Facebook. That tells you that there is something about this technology. And that is why discussions like this are very paramount. And what is the vision behind AI Spotlight Show? Due to the rate at which AI products are being launched, we have several AI startups coming up, and this is actually making it extremely difficult for organizations to make decision on what AI product, what AI technology do we need to use, because they are approached by various vendors. Oh, come and get my AI product. My AI product is the best. If you have this, you are going to have 100% ROI. Now, AI Spotlight should look at all of these issues and we're like, what is the perfect way, the right way to help potential client enterprises, small business, make good decision in terms of purchasing or acquiring the AI technology. Then we decided to come up with a show like this where we can bring individuals, founders, CEOs, and co-founders of all these AI companies to come and tell us about what kind of AI solution they are providing. And we ask them very technical questions where we can get insightful information about their product, and we believe that this will help to bridge the gap, helping organizations not to make bad decisions in acquiring or purchasing AI technology. And that is the vision behind AI Spotlight. And we are doing a lot of things in the space. And today I have the representative of Cloobot. He's going to introduce himself, maybe as a founder or the CEO. Akshay Pashit, nice to have you on AI Spotlight Show. Can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, hi Henry. Thank you for having me on the show. Excited to be a part of this. So maybe a quick introduction about me. I'm the co-founder of a Gen AI startup called Cloobot Inc. And we are three co-founders of the company. So a bit of maybe a background story of why we are doing what we are building might give a context to the audience. So this is our second startup, and the first startup we started was during the COVID-induced lockdowns. So every entrepreneur kind of sees a problem and a pain, and tries to see if we can solve them. So that's what happened with us. During this lockdown situations, we saw that a lot of industries which has large number of frontline workforce, which is construction, facility management, infrastructure. These industries have still a lot of processes which are unstructured, and the people working on site are not able to adapt to complex tech applications. Oftentimes, we had seen that in countries like India, in Africa, Middle East, a lot of developing countries, the people are very comfortable using simple applications like WhatsApp for routine communication. Although they were not meant to be that way, but the ease of use kind of gave them that benefit. So the idea what came to our mind in the first startup was create a very configurable no code low code platform, so that we can offer tailor made workflow applications to these organizations, and deploy them as a chatbot on WhatsApp. So basically, people on site don't have to learn anything new. They already are communicating on WhatsApp groups. So instead of communicating to the group, they will now have a number of the chatbot. They just interact with the chatbot, and basically all the information exchange happens, and the workflow gets managed. So all the applications on site, like quality management, safety management, this is what we were helping organizations to digitalize, and get real-time visibility on dashboards like Power BI and Tableau. So this is a growing company. It's still in place, but the challenge which happened was that unfortunately the companies we were catering to had no in-house capabilities to use the no-code framework and build applications themselves. So the burden of creating these custom applications came on my team's shoulders. So basically, what happened was we would then have to interact with various business stakeholders across various departments and projects. And these are the people who know their business, but they have never experienced how a tech implementation happens. So we were kind of burdened with a lot of problems on around implementation. Some of the common challenges were that requirements would keep coming in tranches. No one single person would know the complete picture about that particular process, and oftentimes scope creep would constantly come. A edge use case would get discovered at the time of rollout, where a certain stakeholder was completely ignored. uh,
Wow.
so uh, so there were so many challenges. Each project would run for months together.
Wow.
Even a
That's
simple
amazing.
process, yeah, it is so challenging in such environments that you're trying to help these industries, but because of the inherent challenges and tech adaptation issues, we are not able to solve for the way we wanted to. So
Wow.
so
Let,
kind
let
of,
me let me interrupt you a little bit.
yeah,
Um, because I want us to look at it from, will I say, from a more broader perspective. Most of my audience here, we have individuals that are representing various industries, and most of them are decision makers and top executives. Now, let us look at the use case of your products
yeah,
from a CRM perspective.
yeah,
And one thing that interests me about your product was you said your product will help to um, help organization to utilize Salesforce more efficiently on CRM platform. I know right now you said the major focus is on Salesforce, right?
yes,
Now let us talk about how does your product help organization to implement Salesforce efficiently, especially the Salesforce agent force?
yeah,
Because right now we're in the era of agents.
yeah.
Now let's discuss about that.
Sure. So the background I gave earlier was for my first startup, and basically the challenge of implementation was what led to my creation of this second company, where I realized that LLMs today have the ability to mimic human behavior. So all applications traditionally, like the no-code platform we were building in my first company, two products like Salesforce are extremely complex in nature. You just can't use them out of the box. Think of them like Lego bricks. So you can basically configure them the way you want, based on the processes, based on their automation challenges and requirements. So oftentimes what happens is that you need to maintain a dedicated team, either internally or hire consulting firms like an Accenture or Deloitte, or even the smaller boutique consulting firms based on the size of the enterprise and the budget they can afford. And what happens is that these companies have to go through a very structured implementation process. It starts with a business analyst sitting with business users, gathering all the requirements of what do you want to build, and this can also extend to the Agent Force product which Salesforce has recently launched, because what is the need for automation, what are the agents expected to do. You need to do a lot of prep work to identify the use case, what are the key benefits this use case is going to unlock for that organization. And then you need a team of architects, solution architects, technical architects, who would then understand these business requirements from the business analyst, and then create a ideal design for it. So we call it as a high level solution design, a low level technical design, which details the entire data model, the architecture, and of the various objects, and so on and so forth. So once this design is done, then you need to have a team of admins and developers who would then translate this design into a solution on Salesforce. And this can be an agent force agent. So typically, these projects, be it for a sales cloud or a service cloud or various products of Salesforce, including Agentforce, would take at least 3 months on minimum, to even some cases 2 to 3 years, based on the size and the complexity of the use case. So this is where Cloobot, as the product which we are building in the second startup, comes in. So think of what the teams have been doing traditionally is very resource heavy and very time consuming, because you need to go through a very structured process. You need a team of BAs, architects, developers, admins, project managers, and so on and so forth. So
Mhm.
now, if the LLMs today, think of them like agents which are doing a virtual role of a BA, architect, and so on and so forth, and are able to do at least 60 to 70% of their work, so that these employees, the experts we call them, can now do the rest of it, and then the human in loop is able to make things faster. The course corrections can be done as required, and then these projects can be completed in a very timely manner. Typically, if you look at this whole ecosystem, there are three players. There is the product company like Salesforce, ServiceNow, Oracle, Dynamics 365, SAP, all the CRM, ERP applications to begin with.
Mhm.
Then the second player is the company which wants to purchase this kind of application, any kind of enterprise across any industry or segment. And the third one is these consulting firms which are kind of bridging the gap between the technology and the business requirement.
Mhm.
So now, if you look at everybody's lens, from a services company, like a even if I talk about these small and mid-sized companies, what are the key challenges they face? First is that now, because the market has become very competitive, they
Mhm.
have to now bid for a lot more projects, and then they are able to just convert maybe 10 or 20% of the time. So if you bid for 20 projects, you end up getting two. So oftentimes your team of business analysts, architects who are involved in creating the proposal, estimations, create some kind of POCs, all of that goes into a sunk cost, because they are working on 20 projects, but they just get two. The second thing which happens is that, traditionally, services companies had been working on a time and material basis. So they would basically also estimate how much time this would take, how many resources they would require, and
Mhm.
then the project would get dragged on for months together, and then they would basically get a what's say a better deal, because more the delays, more the revenue they make. So, but the challenge is that it's not very efficient for the enterprises who are implementing such solution, because there are always cost escalations and time overruns. Uh, so,
Now,
so
sorry, before you deep further, because I know you've been able to define the statements of problem
yeah,
more elaborately, to see the reason why organization need Clobots, most
yeah,
especially in their CRM platform. Let us narrow the discussion. What are what specific agents does Clobot provide to
yeah,
its users? Because when you think the word agent is an AI technology that is assigned with a task to achieve a task on your behalf. Now, what what tasks does Clobot agents
correct.
handle?
Correct. So,
Yes.
the we are building basically a agentic platform which has two primary agents for now. There
Okay.
is a BA agent and there is an architect agent.
Okay.
What does the BA agent do? So what it will do is, it is mimicking the role of a BA. So think of it
Mm-hmm.
like a virtual BA. Now, what this agent can do is that it will interact with the business user. So suppose the business user is joining a video call like this, and you have a note taker. So now the note taker is capturing all the minutes of the meeting, capturing all the information which has been shared by the business user on what is their requirement. So
Mm-hmm.
suppose the company is a non-profit, and they want to set up a donor management system for their for their organization,
Mm-hmm.
or if it is a company which is into manufacturing and they want to set up a case management system to manage their customer support.
Okay.
So every company would have some processes which they would want to digitalize, automate using Salesforce ecosystem, and then there are various products under it, from Sales Cloud to Agent Force, which is the latest one. So the BA agent will basically capture all these requirements,
Mm-hmm.
analyze it, and start asking very specific questions to the business user. So it would basically try to identify gaps. It will try to unravel things which are not stated by
Sorry,
the business.
before you move further a little bit, let me intercept you. Now, I want us to know which, because to me, the way you are describing it, I believe the BA agents need to be integrated into the organization communication channels. And I
Yes.
like the fact that you mentioned the virtual, maybe Zoom or Microsoft Team, right?
Yeah.
Can you mention areas where they are going to integrate the BA agents? Like,
Yeah.
how does it work? Um,
Yeah.
does it provide an option where they can interact with it? I know there is a new tool. I can't remember the name of the tool, but I read it online. This in like an AI employee that will
Yes.
on your call, and he's going to take notes and even ask questions. You understand? Then can you
Correct.
give us that visual understanding of how it works? Do they have to do you have to plug the BA agent on your Slack channel or your Microsoft Teams? Do you have to plug it in your email? Please give us a visual
Correct.
understanding of what happens.
Absolutely. So the way this is going to work is it is going to be integrated in all the communication channel.
Okay.
So think of it like a headless solution. You don't
Mhm,
have to go a particular place to then provide that information. It will be able to pull all the information from your email trail,
mhm,
from the communications you do on channels like Slack or
mhm,
Teams, or you are attending these video calls, and then there's a note taker capability which will even translate that into a call transcripts, and then basically during these conversations it will in real time analyze this information. Typically in a physical world, what happens is that you are a business user, I am a consultant, I will first understand your requirement. You will then share with me set of information documents, and then all this combination is then I take 6 to 7 days at least, to go back to reviewing them and come back to you asking for additional set of questions. And then this kind of discovery will happen with you as a stakeholder, then you will have different stakeholders in different departments. So this kind of thing will go on for months together. Now in a BA agent capability, it will automatically in real time have multiple channels to communicate with the business users at
mhm,
their time and convenience. They can just have an interaction with a chatbot, which is plugged into a Teams or Slack channel, or even a WhatsApp like informal channels. It is having the ability to pull information from emails, pull information from video transcripts,
okay,
and basically upload information manually. In the near future, you can also have a voice based capability where you can even talk and it will be able to capture in real time.
mhm,
And what it is doing is that information processing is done instantly. Now you don't have to wait for weeks and months together to get back to second set of questions. As soon as you give it information, it will analyze it, it will start asking questions, it will identify gaps, give you recommendations, and even create a structured business requirement document with user stories instantly. It would take few
that
minutes.
that's a good one. Yeah, I was about to ask you that. Go ahead.
Yeah, this process would at least take 2 to 3 people, at least 2 to 3 weeks to come up with one set of the user story. Now you can literally do this in matter of 2 to 3 minutes. And what the now the business analyst role is that the idea is that think of this like a co-pilot. It is doing the groundwork, it is creating the documentation, it is maintaining all the versions. So all these processes are getting automated. The grunt work is off the charts. Now the BA is basically focusing more on the human to human interaction. So they
Mm-hmm.
don't have to be borne down with all the boring stuff and all the documentation related grunt work. They are just focused on looking at the change management, unraveling the unknowns, and then use their subject matter expertise to give directions to these agents to say that no, I think this is the wrong context. This is what the team actually needs, and then it is making course corrections instantly. So the co-workers, so people will now start working with these virtual employees together, and then things will be done a lot more faster than it used to be done earlier.
Wow. Now I want to ask a quick question because I'm envisaging how the user interface is going to look like. As a
Yes.
tech person, I do the design in my head, on top of my head. Let's look at it. You talk about the BA agent making suggestion or recommendation of important business requirements, right?
Yes. Yes.
Once the BA agent spots this business requirement that needs to be addressed, is there like a button where it will ask you, do you want me to generate this in form of user stories and something like that? That is one question.
Yes.
Then the second question is it plug into Jira? Because some organization will say, come, I like your BA agent, but I would like to have the user story to be deployed to Jira so that we
Ab-
can have it in terms of what do you call it again? In terms of sprints.
yes.
You
Yes.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
Jira methodology.
Yes.
How
Yes.
easy it is to deploy the user story that is being generated by your BA agent into the Jira methodology.
Absolutely. So that's where I kind of used the earlier word of platform.
Mm-hmm.
By the term platform, what I mean is that it is something which is pre-integrated with everything the enterprise is using.
Okay.
So what they are using is in two categories. One is
Okay.
in terms of communications, information gathering, and receiving. So
Okay.
that's where all the emails and then all the video calls like Zoom and
Mm-hmm.
Teams, collaboration platforms like Slack comes into picture.
Okay.
The second aspect is where work gets done through project management tools like Jira.
Okay.
Then they already have tools like Salesforce for their business operations. So
Mm-hmm.
now this platform is going to integrate with Salesforce. It will automatically pull all the metadata, understand what is already being configured.
Mm-hmm.
So it has a lot more context to what is being done as of now. Then
Okay.
what it is doing is it is collecting all the information from different stakeholders from different channels,
Mm-hmm.
and that is all getting processed, and then it is and today these products are so vast that no single person would know what Salesforce can do and cannot do. but
Okay.
but these AI tools have those capabilities of having that vast knowledge. The depth of knowledge is something which is not there yet, because there are a lot of best practices and a lot of a specific way of doing things on Salesforce. So that's where the AI is not 100% there yet.
Okay.
To be cautiously saying that, think of it like at least 60 to 70% accuracy can be achieved through lot of fine tuning,
Okay.
and that's where the humans can then bring in their expertise and complete the rest of the projects.
Okay.
So it will integrate with Jira. So as soon as you share the information, it will start asking questions, create the user stories. It will then push it into Jira. Then from the Jira, whatever changes you make, there is a two-way sync. So it is able to do that. Then there is an architect agent which is translating these user stories into a structured design
Okay.
of how to do what to do on Salesforce to
Okay.
complete this project. It will go to the extent that it will create the code, and the next phase of it is also completely deploying it in Salesforce. So basically, think of it
So,
like a
sorry to intercept you a bit. Does it create like a visual architectural diagram that
yes,
show the interconnectivity of the various technology stack of how the data are going to move from one platform to another, and also the step by steps of what needs to be done, how they
yes.
need to be plugged in, what they need to be connected, and is it going to also show how the data format should look like You understand? If I'm
Absolutely.
moving data from my Salesforce platform down
Correct.
to my Snowflake, am I
Yes.
going to use MuleSoft? What kind of API integration is it going to show? All of those, you know?
Absolutely. So the entire data model is being created. At an
Okay.
object level, it will define the various fields involved, the types of fields. If it's a
Mm,
pick list value, what are the pick list values? It
mhm.
will create an entity relationship diagram defining
Okay.
how the objects are connected together. Uh,
Yeah.
End to end, it is creating it to such a micro level that each user story is broken down into multiple tasks, and
Mhm.
each task the pseudocode is also being generated as of now. Our goal is to then even translate that into metadata and then deploy it directly into Salesforce in the near future. But as
Okay.
of now, it is completely helping the roles of business analysts, solution architects, technical architects to do at least 60-70% of the work. So that's what the agents are currently automating and accelerating the entire process. So
Wow.
so so think of a discovery to design automation
Hmm.
using agents which Cloobot is offering,
Wow.
and
Now
starting with Salesforce.
let's look at the architect agent itself. Like, you know, someone like me, we do put our architectural artifacts sometime in Mirror, and sometimes they also put it in Figma as well. Then,
Yes,
does the architectural agent, can you upload whatever visual diagram, and I want to, um,
absolutely.
deploy it to our preferred architectural
Product.
tool, which might be Mirror or probably Figma or other tool.
Yes. Yes. So the way we are currently doing is that as a startup, we run with very lean team and
Okay.
focus on very specific set of things. So what we are doing is pick the most popular products out there, and in some
Mhm.
cases, products which are even available for free. So for example, there is a draw.io version which is available for free. So what we
Okay.
have done is that to make it cost efficient and people may not want to buy different products or prefer to have products which they are already using like Jira, for example. So
Okay.
in both cases, what the system does is that it is generating the business process diagram, for example,
Okay.
and also the entity relationship diagram. So all this can be directly editable through a draw.io linkage, which is already available. So there are multiple integrations which we have pre-done, like a Salesforce integration, Jira integration, a note taker integrations, and so on and so forth. And then when enterprises or organizations comes up with a request that, hey, we are using Asana instead of Jira,
Mhm.
we are basically using a Miro board for all the diagrams. So then we will initiate a bit of acceleration of integrations and then get that done to facilitate a very seamless experience for them.
Wow. I have two questions that comes to mind. As someone that interview companies to evaluate the technical capabilities of the products.
Yes.
I want to make sure that your product align with the expected user experience. I have two things. One is I want us to talk about the documentation features of your products, and
Yes.
I'm going to explain that, and also the collaboration features of your product. And the
Yes.
reason why I'm saying this is based on all the interviews that I've conducted. One discussion that comes all the time is, will AI technology enhance effective collaboration within the team? Collaboration is an important aspect or phase when
Yeah.
it comes to delivering good products, good AI
Yes.
product, good AI solution. You
Yes.
see, one of the principle of artificial intelligence is transparency and accountability.
Yes.
Now, to be accountable and to be transparent, that means there must be a teamwork, there must be a communication.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then
Absolutely.
another thing about accountability is documentation. Now,
Yes.
the responsible AI principles encourage organization to document every phase of your AI journey so that
Yeah.
when things get wrong, you can trace back. And
Absolutely.
that helps you to develop the mindset of accountability. Now,
Correct.
I'm trying to give you the background of my
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, does the agent have the capability to create maybe documentation for deployments,
Yes.
rollout deployment? You understand what I'm saying? Like
Correct.
the
Yeah.
kind of a knowledge transfer, does it
Correct.
have that kind of capability? That is one. Then the
Yeah.
second one is, can it also highlight some key documentation that they can bring into their I'm trying to remember the name of this tool, Confluence. You know,
Yeah. Yes.
Confluence is a place where you can put all
Put
your
all the.
best practices,
Yes.
information, the architecture. You understand? Does that B agent or the agent or that does it have the capability of doing that? That is one. Then the second thing, does it also enhance collaboration within the team, where individuals can put a side notes based
Yes.
on the suggestion or recommendation made by the agent?
Correct. Yeah. So I'll basically take it point by point. So the first
Okay.
point is on documentation. So Cloobot's core at the back is entirely based on documentation itself.
Yeah.
In fact, we have coined a term called RCOPS. So just like you have DevOps,
Mhm.
you have various other like cloud SecOps and all.
Mhm.
Today, AI has the capability to constantly keep the documentations updated. What
Okay.
happened is that from the waterfall system to when agile system became more popular, in the name of speed, a lot of processes were basically never getting documented because it was always in constant motion.
Mhm.
And then oftentimes the need for documentation was felt when a new member joins, and then they're not able to get a context of why it was done, and what went through it, or there was a huge communication gap, and they need to sort it out. Oftentimes architect becomes a single point where everything is connected and everything is in the architect's head, and
Okay.
it's not documented. So there's so much of challenges between communication gaps of a BA to architect and architect to developer because of this challenge.
Wow.
And because of the agile sprints, changes keeps happening, and then multiple versions need to be there. So even if you create documentation, it was static in nature.
Wow.
If you ask multiple organizations, they would say the last documentation was maybe a year old or 2 years old in some cases, which basically is of no use. So
Hmm.
the agents are actually documenting everything. They are maintaining versions. Every time you make a change, you make a suggestion,
Oh.
it is not only documenting it, it is also having the ability to say that okay, this is an additional work. To do this work, these many people will be required, apart from what the system is already going to do. And it will also give you a estimation on the additional fees required to complete this change request. So a
Hmm.
lot of effort from the partner side also gets reduced, because now they can show that, hey, this was the scope, this was out of scope, this is the new change which has come in. To do this, I'll need 3 days or 3 weeks, and
Hmm.
for that, this is the charge which we will like to have. Everything becomes seamless, so everything is maintained, versionings are maintained, change request is there. So it is not only a agent, but it is a collaboration platform and a
Okay.
documentation platform. So the because Confluence is again an Atlassian product,
Yeah.
not only is the system integrated with Jira, but it is by default integrated with Confluence as well. So the information will automatically go there.
Okay.
The second aspect is collaboration. So on collaboration, it comes with two things. One is that think of this like not just an agent which is doing things, but
Hmm.
it is also a kind of a coach or a co-worker, where you are able to ask questions and
Hmm.
start with brainstorming. So you would basically say, hey, I would like to figure out how do I go about setting up agent force for a health cloud product. and,
Hmm.
and then the AI will start talking to them, give you different approaches and thought process. Once that conversations are done, it is the person has enough clarity on, okay, this looks to be a good approach. Let me start a project out of it. Now
Hmm.
the system has all the memory of these conversations which has happened, and this conversation may not just happen with one person but multiple persons.
Okay.
So it would automatically tell them that, hey, I have enough information from all the various conversations which your team has had. Would you like to convert this into a workspace where you can then have all the structured projects being executed thereafter. Then
Wow.
comes that what it will do is it will break down the project into multiple modules, and
Mm-hmm.
each module will have various processes under it. And now suppose no one person will be able to do everything because it would take too much time, and if you want multiple people to work simultaneously, now the AI has the ability to have saying, okay, module 1 and 2 is picked up by Henry, 3 and 4 will be done by Akshay, and all the controls and permission sets and all are enabled through the system itself. So it is real time collaboration, real time document maintaining, and it is also able to interact with these users, able to answer their questions. Not only that, but it will also ask questions and get the clarity of thought also done. So it's literally a co-worker and a coach simultaneously.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I think that is a very important well, I said element that we need to identify and talk about the features, because most organization and enterprises want to make sure that whatever AI agent they want to deploy have these features we just discussed.
Right.
Now let us look at I know we've talked about your product being integrated with different technology. Maybe we can talk a little bit about it. Maybe let's talk about the interoperability capability of your product. I know you said it can be integrated into Salesforce workflow. It can be integrated into Jira, and by default, is being integrated into
Yeah.
Confluence as well.
Yes.
And I believe you also said can be integrated into different communication channels from Slack. Are there other interoperability features, about the product that you would like us to know?
Sorry, I didn't get the last few seconds. Can you just
Yeah,
repeat
I
the last
said
one?
interoperability. I mean,
Yeah.
that's talking about how your product can be integrated into other platforms. Are
Got it.
there any other technology? Are there
Yeah,
any?
so basically we have already APIs available, which can allow any other product to integrate with our tool, and
Okay.
then we are constantly adding more and more products based on the request clients are making. So very soon we will come up with a framework which will allow us to integrate with multiple products simultaneously.
Okay.
So it is basically going to make sure that communications can come from multiple sources. The data will come into a single place and maintain a single source of truth. So at the back end, so you may not even go to my platform where you log in and then create an account and use it. It is automatically pulling information from a Slack channel, from your email, from Salesforce, and maintaining it at the back end. And what happens is that even if it is maintained there, you
Hmm.
can then push it into a Jira and Confluence. So you may not even need to come here and display it. It is just collating information and pushing it at the right channels.
Wow. And are you guys currently working on how these agents can be used in other platform apart from CRM, maybe ERP? Because
Yeah.
I think the BA work and also the architectural piece is one aspect that a lot of organization would like, you know, would like if there's an agent that can take care of that, because one, it requires a lot of time doing requirement gathering and
Yes.
discovery section. And I want to quote, someone like Elon Musk, who said a lot of organizations spend time on the call rather than doing the actual work. Then I believe with Cloobot BA agent and architectural agent, it will help a lot of organizations to focus on more tasks that will help to push the organization forward in terms of helping them to achieve more ROI and
Yes.
also improve employee productivity, and to be able to also improve their customer services and every key aspect of the industry. um are you guys also working on how this agent can be integrated into SAP?
Yes.
You understand other ERP platform, and also Oracle as well.
Yes. So the vision had always been that when we saw the pain points which my first startup had with regards to
Okay.
implementation, we had immediately seen that every product would which needs an implementation support will have to go through this manual, heavy, time consuming process, and let
Mm-hmm.
us solve for it by a platform which can look at every process out there and
Mm-hmm.
bucket it. So you bucket it in terms of the category of the technology it is. So we started with CRM to begin with, and then we will extend to much more. So ERP, like is much more complex
Yeah.
and all encompassing. So the idea was that with CRM, the other aspect is that because sales and marketing is the heart and soul of every organization, so people would tend to make more changes in CRM to reflect their business dynamics. So they would want their CRM to be more updated than an SAP, which they may have set up with the consulting firm, and that number of changes will not be high compared to a CRM. So for now, what we are trying to do is learn each and every technology out there based on the documentations made available. So, for example, Salesforce has a lot of information on head.salesforce.com, his
Mm-hmm.
trailhead, where the LLMs can learn through it. So you're basically grounding these LLMs in Salesforce know-how. So the specific way of how things are done on Salesforce, it is able to give that accuracy and the right design to create the most optimized experience. A general agent like a chat gpt or a claude will give you very generic answers which will not really help you. It can give you
Yeah.
some guidance, they can give you some piecemeal information in a very unstructured manner. But if you have to really automate the whole thing and literally think of a 10x improvement gains, then you need to really bring in a lot of accuracy in what the system can recommend. So catering to every product out there simultaneously will be a bit of a challenge for us. So the idea was to pick the biggest product in CRM space, which is Salesforce,
Okay.
solve for that, and by that virtue, we will learn how typically CRM projects are executed, and that will help us to even cater to new products which startups are launching, because it will already know typically what are the various modules, what are the various capabilities, processes, automation requirements, and it will be able to guide them even if the documentation is not available. So once the product matures to the stage, we will then, once the CRM category is done, we will then evolve it to the ERP solutions, and then pretty much even custom software development can also be something which the system can take care of.
Wow. And sorry, I'm not being, I don't like to be partial. Are you guys also considering service now? Service now is also a big
Yes,
company.
absolutely. In fact, when we started the whole journey, we picked Salesforce, ServiceNow, NetSuite as the three products where we would be able to create something. And then for Salesforce, for a startup, speed is everything that matters. So
Mm,
we found a lot of love and support from the Trailblazer community.
okay.
So for whatever curious reason, Salesforce has done a great job in building that amazing community,
Yeah.
and it's much more evolved than other players relatively. So I think that was one of the reasons we saw that we are getting a lot of inputs and support from this. Let us begin with Salesforce, but the way sales service now is growing, definitely we would like to extend it in a couple of
Yes, with
months.
their partnership with NVIDIA, because I was at their recent conference, it's called Knowledge 2025, and I had the opportunity of interviewing their executive, the group
Yeah.
VP, and some other directors. And we spoke about the three product launch. And I can tell you that ServiceNow has a point to prove when it comes to the agentic technology,
Yeah.
because they are really they are working in partnership where the ServiceNow machine learning engineers are working together with NVIDIA engineers to build a revolutionary agent that will help to handle any kind of workflow seamlessly. Yeah, then
Yeah.
ServiceNow is not a company we should push aside. I
Oh,
think
absolutely.
Salesforce,
Service now is right there. In
Salesforce
fact, it is
knows
the
about
second
that
company
as
we are going
well.
to extend.
You
Yes.
understand?
In
And
fact,
I
they have got
admire
into
what,
the CRM space. So,
yeah,
so it's a very natural extension for us to now go to service
yeah,
now.
I admire their work. I admire the company's culture. Yeah. Now, there is one important piece um, that organization consider before bringing in any AI technology or before investing their money into any AI technology. And I think it's one of the most, will I say, the most common discussion about AI technology. How safe is AI? Is it
Yeah,
safe to use? And now we're talking about the issue of trusts.
yeah,
Now, trust is an important element when organizations are evaluating a technology. One point that they nail is trust. Can we
correct.
trust your platform? Then, my question for you is, on what trust framework was Cloobot agent built upon
Yes.
in compliance with responsible AI principles?
Okay. So the way we, in fact, this was one of the core idea behind building this in a very safe and
Okay.
what say, ensuring that all the protections are put in place. So we built the platform on the Azure framework, and we are using the Microsoft Azure OpenAI services. So basically, because of the enterprise level security put in place, it is by
Mm,
default as part of the contract, giving you the assurance that no data is being used to train these LLMs. So
mm,
in fact, it is a boon and a bane, because if you go to ChatGPT versus the Azure OpenAI same version, the information from a general available ChatGPT would be much more refined, because it has the ability of the access to the public information. A lot more training is being done versus the Azure OpenAI related thing. So the burden of getting the accuracy improved falls upon us, but that is a small price to pay in lieu of the security it provides to the enterprises. The
mhm.
second thing which we do is that first is the LLMs are not getting trained on the data being consumed. The second thing
Okay.
we do is that the data we are having various capabilities around this. So one of the
Mm,
things is that it has the ability to anonymize the data being fed. So
okay.
suppose there is some personally identifiable information, any information which is sensitive. So it is basically anonymizing it. It is changing certain key numbers and
Mm,
names and things like that. So it kind of becomes it is only collecting data which it needs to then convert it into a design, and then all the various documentations, breaking it down into a module and process level. So what is to be built, what is the process, it is
mm,
just getting that information and not really concerned with the
mm.
enterprise data which it is storing.
Okay.
The third thing is that all the conversations are by default encrypted, decryption, masking, all of that is put in place. And the fourth thing is that if there's a very large enterprise, it will also have its own custom LLMs.
Okay.
So we have the ability to then use those custom LLMs to then ingest in our platform and then provide the same level of capabilities which they would expect from what we have already preset. So there are these various aspects which we have put in place to ensure that all the data privacy and security standards are being adhered to.
Okay. I think that is amazing, and it would be so nice for you guys to add that to the website.
Yes.
Just like now, when I was looking at Agent Force updates, recent updates on Salesforce Agent Force, Salesforce actually puts a framework
Yeah.
of their trust. They call it the
Yes.
trust framework,
Yes.
and it has the trust is embedded in different forms in terms of observability,
Correct.
in terms of interoperability. I think that is very important, and so that people can know on what trust framework is the agent built upon. And another question, because we don't have much time, I want you guys to look into is there a way of monitoring the performance of the agents? Because that is why there are recent discussion, which I'm also engaged in the research. I'm currently
Yes.
writing a research right now. We're trying to understand the behavioral pattern of AI agents.
Correct.
then we need to start having those discussions. And we're looking at key parameters that can be used to evaluate the behavioral pattern of an AI agent. At what point do we need to maybe we fine tune those agents? What are the possible easiest way of improving their performance? Then these are some of the questions the research I'm currently doing, and in connection with IEEE. Then I'm looking to present that paper next year, and I'm also looking at that research in other industry as well. Now, let us talk about maybe two use cases, and in those use cases, I want you to talk about the business value of what your current customers have benefited
Yeah.
from bringing in the Cloobot BA agent and also the architect agents.
Brilliant. So, in terms of value add, now we have two ideal customer profiles.
Okay.
The first is the Salesforce consulting firms, which are engaged in a lot of pre-sales motion, and they
Mhm.
are also working on a lot of fixed bid projects.
Okay.
So for them, like I said, the value proposition is that your sunk cost of involvement of a BA and architect is drastically reduced,
Mhm.
because this is taking up at least 60 to 70% of the work. and
Okay.
and with regards to the fixed bid project, now if you are requiring 5 to 10 people in the project earlier, now that is being cut down to 2 to then 6 people, so based on the size of the projects involved. So with less resources and less time, these organizations are able to deliver and give the benefit of faster delivery to the end customer in terms of faster time to value.
Mhm.
So now we have in fact come up with a realization that these organizations, consulting firms, can actually charge a premium to enterprises who really value the opportunity cost, which is associated with a faster versus a slower deployment.
Okay.
So not only can they make more money, they can improve their margins, and really don't rely on increasing the headcount when they want to scale their operations.
Okay.
The biggest challenge which these consulting firms have is that they can't maintain a huge bench strength which the likes of a TCS or a Accenture can maintain. So when a new project comes up, and then they need more manpower, they have to do a just-in-time hiring,
Mhm.
and they have never seen how the person performs, the culture, a lot of fitment challenges which may come up, and that would risk a lot of quality issues during the execution of the project. With the AI tool like this, which already knows how work things are getting done, it has the ability to even ingest the current way of working, all the various documents being generated, so that
Okay.
it is very personalized in the way the company has to deliver the output. So these are the main factors in terms of improved margin, faster delivery, quality related de-risking, which is basically the ROI the company gains. So in a very simple terms, even if a small company is able to offset one solution architect
Mhm.
cost, which is in the range of 150,000 to $200,000. That is
Okay.
the minimum saving a small company can realize from a tool like this.
Wow.
So and if the number of people are more, it's a multiplier effect. So in terms of a company which is 1,000 odd strong, it will easily save a couple of millions of dollars.
Wow.
Now if you flip the script to a end customer,
Mhm.
typically what happens is that they don't maintain such a large team to basically manage the Salesforce org. So oftentimes there is no architect. There's an admin which is also doing the job of an architect. And what happens is that there's a lot of attrition which happens in these organizations, because these specialists don't get the kind of exposure which a consulting firm can provide in
Mhm.
terms of the breadth and variety of projects they get to work on.
Wow.
So in such an environment, the challenges which happens is that knowledge retention doesn't happen. Once a person has left, then everything has to start from day one. Then the ramp up costs are also very high. They
Wow.
have to try to understand what is done, why it is done, and get up to speed, and then start delivering. So it would often take 3 to 6 months on an average to get a single resource up to date. That is the point two. Point three is that because they have a very lean team, the scale of speed of rolling out these projects is
Mm.
very very slow, which impacts the ability for these companies to become agile, and which is very critical in today's day and age. So these are the factors which are of great value from the organization point of view. So with less resources, faster ramp up time, and faster release, these companies are able to generate a lot more revenue, and become basically cut down the opportunity cost and the ramp up cost.
Wow, that is amazing. It has a lot of benefit to offer to organization that wants to leverage Cloobot, B agent, and also architect agent. And one thing before we round up, I want to add is this Cloobot BA agent and architect agent is applicable to all industry as long
Yes,
as you're using Salesforce CRM platform. You're using the Salesforce Agent Force platform. You can utilize or leverage BA agent and architectural agent to help in your business requirement gathering, and also helping to establish a more clear picture of building any form of AI product or your AI solution, and it's going to make the product delivery more efficient and help you to build a more visible product roadmap. Yeah,
absolutely.
in a more faster way. And these are some of the key benefits of using Clobots.
Yes,
Ashke, I want to appreciate you for joining us on today's episode of AI Spotlight Show. We're going to probably edit this video, but you can, if you're on my LinkedIn, you should be able to have access to it. And when we create the shorter clips, we're going to provide more information on how you can request for a demo. But you can go to the website right now.
yes,
Just type Clobot on your Google search, and you should be able to find your way to the website, and you can request for a demo. You can send them an information, and they'll be glad, to have you and host a demo for you, and you will find it very relevant. And I think, one thing about AI technology is the attributes of, I like the word he used, just in time.
yes,
And that is what Sam Altman and a lot of, he said it is, with AI you can ship quickly.
correct,
Now there's something about speed and AI, you know
correct,
that can be easily infused together. Then when you're thinking AI, you should be thinking about speed. You should be thinking about faster, speedy delivery. That is
correct.
what comes with artificial intelligence, and that is what Clobot is offering as an AI agent technology for Salesforce CRM platform. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining this episode of AI Spotlight Show. My name still remain Henry Onowole, the executive producer of AI Spotlight. In our next episode with Clobot, we are going to bring them to come and do a product demo where you can see the platform, and we can look at a little use case, because I'm also someone that has a rich background in the Salesforce platform, even though my focus has been in AI. And thank you, everyone. I'll talk to you guys soon. Yeah, you can remain.